All right. Great to see everybody tonight. We have a really awesome presentation to go through tonight. And this is such a extremely important subject that I talk with so many of my members about, and I really felt compelled to do this presentation tonight in our Thursday night trainings. And this is all about the connection between self-worth, your habits, and your results. Now, I really like this quote here. Self-respect, self-worth, and self-love all start with self. So stop looking outside of yourself for your value. It all starts on the inside. And tonight we're going to talk about how self-worth can ultimately affect your habits. And of course, your habits dictate your results. And we're going to go through that this evening so that we can start getting you different results, better habits, and start loving yourself more. Sound good? Let's go. So first, we need to know that we treat ourselves the way we perceive ourselves. So if we don't believe that we are enough, and I come across so many, I work with predominantly women, so I work with so many women, but I have come across men like this as well. And it just comes up in two different ways a lot of the times. So I find that a lot of times we treat ourselves, and our lowest standard is what we will allow in our lives, how we perceive ourselves and perceive what we deserve. And let me ask you, and you can type this in the box, do you feel like you're better at giving to people or receiving from people? And I can see, obviously, yes, most people are givers, right? Most of you are give, and that's one way that you start to feel like you're more of enough to deserve receiving a little bit here and there. I know this because I spent the first 34 years of my life not feeling like I was good enough and trying to be more and do more and be a perfectionist and an overachiever and give to everybody else before I took care of myself and put my own oxygen mask on first, because in my mind, the story was, that's selfish. I need to give, right? And that was the way that I was meeting that emotional need of feeling like I was good enough. So I was giving and giving, but not doing what I needed to do to receive. I wasn't being a good receiver, and it cost me my health. When I was running my first fitness facility, my health got destroyed. I've had a lot of stress, started getting a lot of sinus infections. The doctors gave me antibiotics, completely destroyed my whole entire gut health. And it ultimately led to the falling apart of my fitness facility dreams, right? I kept that afloat, of course, because I was trying to be everything to everybody else and not myself, and I wasn't taking care of myself. So when I closed that down and I stepped into this new thought process and this new paradigm of being both a good giver and a good receiver, because I started to realize that I am enough and I am worth receiving, I started to value my value, is really what it came down to. So that's really one of the big first pieces in this puzzle for many of you, is to start valuing your value. Start being a good receiver. And some of us are so blocked by that idea because we have these perception glasses that we're wearing right now, and we don't feel like we're good enough. So somebody will give us a compliment or try to help us or treat us, or give us gifts, and we just don't want to receive them, and it hurts and it feels so uncomfortable when we do that because we treat ourselves how we perceive ourselves. So step one, and this is what I recommend all my members and everybody I work with, and this is one of the first homeworks I do in one of my workshops that I do. It's writing on your bathroom mirror the words, I am enough. You can write it in lipstick, you can write it in washable marker, you can go on Etsy and get a fancy stencil or decal or whatever this is. This is my bathroom. And this is beneficial not just for me to read every day and to say every day, but it's fantastic. I wanted it to put it on there for my wife. I wanted my kids growing up in a house knowing that they are enough, because that is the biggest thing that is prevailing over all of us. We don't feel like we're good enough. And we try to overcompensate in so many areas, and yet the one area that we don't take care of is ourselves. We're going to talk about that tonight. So why do we do that? Well, the reason is 1 in 8 comments that this is the statistics, folks. I'm just telling you stats. 1 in 8 comments that you get as a child is a positive comment. So that means the other 7 are negative. So if you're getting called no, don't, stop, I can't believe you did that, why did you do that, you're so stupid, blah, 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 right? So everyone has a different upbringing, but a lot of times parents and teachers and coaches and other people in your lives, they don't realize what they're doing to you, and you might not realize that you're continuing that cycle right now. I want you to understand, we're not getting into this tonight. We're not talking about parenting tonight. Okay, we're not talking about you as a parent. We're talking about what happened to you as a child and how this developed to get to where you are now, and the habits that you have now and the way you treat yourself and the beliefs you have around that. So we need to let go of those beliefs and baggage, which is easier said than done. I do a lot of rapid transformation therapy with my members and people I work with to help them break through the subconscious beliefs and help them understand that they are enough and they are lovable. And a lot of times that's something that we need to ultimately figure out where it came from, where it started. But it really all starts, this is the biggest thing, if we're going to start anywhere, we just need to start telling ourselves out loud. We need to start saying it to ourselves that I am enough every single day. And your brain learns by repetition, okay? Now, your mind likes and does what is familiar, and it's familiar to self-talk that you are not enough. So a lot of times you're going to have those voices telling you, right? So how does your mind sell you? Because it's probably selling you on why you're not good enough and what you should or what you deserve or don't deserve, right? So your mind's probably telling you you don't deserve to invest time or money into your health, lifestyle, and or business. You don't have the time or money to eat healthy, exercise, self-care, business building, so on and so forth. Right? What's the point? Sorry, I'm blocking it, of course. You're not going to be successful anyways, and even if you do achieve some results, you will eventually go back. Stories sound familiar, folks? And it's just so common. This is so common, and it's so familiar for a lot of people that they stay in this cycle. So we need to break the cycle. And I'm going to explain what the cycle looks like so you can see it and understand it a little bit better. So here's the cycle right now. The cycle works like this. Your identity, otherwise known as your paradigm, the way that the world is and you see it and all that stuff through your perception and interpretations, your beliefs, values, and your subconscious habits, that's your identity. It's really just the makeup, the pieces that make up who you are and how you show up in this world. And those things ultimately control your thoughts, the stories you tell yourself, obviously how you feel, and then what we call your habit alarm. So your habit alarm is your urges that you get to, let's say, eat junk food or not take care of yourself, right? Or another example of a habit alarm is when you are trying to, let's say you're trying to improve your business. It might be you have an urge to procrastinate, right? You have that urge to procrastinate, so you push into it, and it's keeping you safe because your identity, perceptions, beliefs, values all believe that you aren't good enough to do those things, right? So it sells you these stories, and you get these feelings that you're not good enough, so your habit alarm goes off, and then, of course, it influences your actions and commitments, so what you do and don't do. So as you can see, it all starts back at the red and moves all the way to the blue, and what you don't do is you aren't doing the habits that you need to do. You're not doing the actions, and you're not committing to taking care of yourself. And ultimately, it's dictating your results. So it's giving you, it's whatever you get, right? And then that feeds back into, and it supports your identity. Like, see, I told you you weren't good enough to, build a business. I told you weren't good enough to lose weight. I told you weren't good enough, blah, 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 right? Insert whatever your mind tells you. And this is just it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes until we change our stories and how we're being, and then what we're doing. That's going to allow us to have what we want. So when we start thinking about being, okay, so how you are being, if you're being a person that doesn't believe that they're worth it, if you're being a person that doesn't see a value in taking care of yourself, if you're being a person that thinks that it's selfish to take care of yourself, then you're going to do things not to care for yourself. You're going to do things to care for everybody else and put their oxygen masks on first, and then you're going to die in the plane crash, right? And then you're going to have that train wreck of a result because you need to start off by being a certain way, doing certain things, then you're going to have the results you want. But so many people go about it another way. They're like, oh, I need to have more time. I need to have the money. I need to have, the self-love. I need to have whatever, insert whatever, right? I need to have the skills and the knowledge. I'm not smart enough, right? They think they need to have all of those things in order to do the actions to care for themselves, to take care of themselves and what they want. And then they'll be happy and they'll be worth it and they'll be all of these things. So they go from have, do, be, but you can see clearly here that it doesn't work and it's broken and it will never work. And if you keep going at that the same way, it won't ever change. So we have to come from the be, do, have, right? Start with how we're being, our beliefs, our values, and start working on our stories and, not fighting with the habit alarm and the urges, and just start dismissing it and moving our attention to what we want and moving into doing the habits that we want to do and the actions we want to do to get the results we want to have. Now, a lot of this is subconscious. That's why I help people break through their subconscious, because they may not be able to break through it on their own. That's where reaching out for help comes in. But of course, what do people do? They don't reach out for help because they don't think they're good enough, right? Do you see the cycle? It's just, it goes and goes and goes. So this is important. And this is the breakdown of kind of how it goes for most people. This is their belief. Belief number one, I am not good enough or worth investing time on, AKA not a priority. And this is what I teach people all the time. And it helps them really understand it a little bit better. Really, anytime you say, I don't have the time or I don't have the money or whatever it is, you're going to want to try saying, I'm not a priority or it's not a priority or whatever it is, and see how it feels, because it starts to really, really let you know what you're prioritizing. And most people that don't feel like they're good enough or worth it don't prioritize themselves. I know I didn't. I was not prioritizing my health. I was not prioritizing my lifestyle. I wasn't even prioritizing my wealth. I was like, I want to help everybody. I would do this all for free. All of those things were in my brain. And of course, that's what I was getting back. And it destroyed my health and my lifestyle. So the story from that belief is, I don't have the time to blank. Exercise, you name it. Exercise, eat healthy, build a business, blah, 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 right? So what are the habits, right? The habits that you get from the belief in that story is not eating healthy, not preparing your food, not exercising, not reaching out to people to build your business, not focusing on self-care, not spending time in personal and professional development, so on and so forth, right? The habits become endless because they all feed on that first belief and identity that you're not good enough, and then you don't have the time to do it, right? Your story feeds that whole cycle. Here's the next one. I'm not good enough / worth investing money in myself, right? This is the story that a lot of people tell themselves. I've heard this story tons of times. It's selfish to invest in myself. It's selfish to invest in myself. Now, I'll tell you, I think it's selfish to not invest in yourself. I think it's not even close to selfish. It's actually imperative to invest in yourself because you won't break the cycle unless you do, right? So what are the habits that happen? Not buying healthy food, right? If you don't think you're good enough, you're going to keep eating junk food that keep you miserable and stuck in the health that you're in, right? You're not going to feel like you're good enough to exercise because, your kids and everybody else needs you and your time. So why would you waste it on you, right? Because you're in that self-worth piece. Not doing self-care activities, not getting the support, coaching, and therapy you need, not investing in personal and professional development, and the cycle continues. So this is what I want you to think about. If your hot water heater broke tomorrow, would you find the time and money to get it fixed? Type it in the box. If your hot water heater broke, would you find the time and money to get it fixed? If your children needed braces, would you find the time and money to make that happen? If your significant other or somebody, your best buddy, needed something, would you find the time and money to make that happen for them? Absolutely. So here's the question. Here's the gut check question. Why are you any different? Why are you any different? It all comes back to self-worth, right? That creates the habits that we make for ourselves and the beliefs that we make for ourselves, and then it leads to our results. So we just keep getting the same old stuff. So we have to break that cycle. Your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. This is the other thing that I find comes up with a lot of people. If you don't value yourself, the people in your life won't either. I can't tell you how many people I've come across, their spouse doesn't support them investing time or money in them because they don't think they're worth it, which is really messed up, isn't it? It's really messed up, isn't it? You are worth it. You are enough, right? And what happens, though, if you don't feel like you're enough, you're going to start attracting people that don't believe you are worth investing time and money in as well. So the cycle repeats, because if you don't believe it, no one else is going to believe it. So you have to value your value. And people will treat you the way that you allow, aka your lowest standard. So whatever your lowest standard is in the relationships that you have, people are going to treat you that way, whatever you allow. Because think about it, if you've ever had somebody in your life that breached that, they're no longer in your life. They breached your lowest standard and then they're no longer here, okay? So respect yourself enough to let go of someone who doesn't see your worth, because you are worth it. You are worth it. You need to get that in, right? Consciously and most importantly, subconsciously, okay? So let's talk about ways to start changing your self-worth, habits, and results. So first, tell yourself every day that you are enough. And the first couple of days, it's going to probably not align with the way that your mind thinks of you. So you need to start really, really communicating concretely with your mind, and you probably have to start doing it out loud. And it's going to feel uncomfortable because you don't believe it right now. Most people don't when they first start this. And you got to start somewhere. Your mind learns through repetition. Start the habits of investing time in yourself. When you go to invest time in yourself, so let's say you go and take a bath or read a book or breathe for a second, right? You need to dismiss the stories that you have around why you shouldn't be doing those. You need to dismiss those stories and prove to yourself why you should, because you are worth it. And then you move your attention to loving yourself. So the way we move our attention, because most of the time we are where our attention is, folks. Wherever your attention is where you will be. So if your attention is on everybody else because you don't feel like you're good enough to focus attention on you, it will just keep that cycle going. So you need to allow attention on yourself. You need to allow the attention on yourself and start loving on yourself and taking care of yourself, because it will pay off. The ripple effect, like I help a lot of moms and entrepreneurs, and when we get them healthy and happy, the ripple effect is so massive. It just ripples throughout their whole family, their friends, it ripples throughout their clients, all of those things. So start investing in yourself, time. Start the habit of investing money in yourself. Dismiss your stories around that, right? The I'm not worth it, or, we don't have the money for me, right? Because you don't think you're good enough to invest in. And you're going to keep getting what you've always gotten. Remember, we have to go be, do, have, not have, do, be. And you will get what you want if you love yourself enough to do that. So you have to dismiss your stories and then move your attention to loving yourself. Number 4, surround yourself with people that love you. If they love you, they will support you and your dreams. I am so epically blessed to have an amazing woman in my life that trusts me to invest in myself, to invest in my self-care, to invest in this business and my life so that I can make a better life for the family, right? Because it starts, like, I work with a lot of moms, and it starts with them. Like, if they get healthy and happy, and it just, the ripple effect is so epically massive. And it starts with just surrounding yourself with people that will be there for you. Now, last but not least, reach out for help. You are not alone. I'm right here talking to you, and I care so massively about you and you reaching your full potential and living better, healthier, happier, making more money, whatever it is that you want, right? And we have so many ways that we do this. Right now, we're in our free group, and I'm giving you value, and I'm trying to help you right now. So there's tons of free ways that we can do this, right? We also use rapid transformation therapy to help people break through their subconscious blocks to get through that, right? And then there's so many other things that we do other than that, around nutrition, relationships, environment, all that stuff, like exercise, everything. So you're not alone. And my main purpose on this planet is to help people just like yourself. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like, you know what, I've been trying to feel worthy enough for a very long time, but I don't know what to do. And, and of course, I recommend just trying the things I just said first. And if you're just at that point where you just need some support, reach out, send me a message, ask questions in this group, because that is how you can start getting what you want. Anytime you ask a question, I will be there to answer it for you so that we can get you moving forwards and get you the result that you want. And then it's going to change your habits, and you're going to start believing that you are totally worth it, because you are enough. You always have been, and you most certainly always will be. So I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Reach out if you need support, and start implementing some of this stuff to start loving on yourself today. Keep showing up, taking action. You will get results.